Welcome to Houston Sports Talk with your host, Robert Land.
Joining me and Shaun is Texans linebacker Blake Cashman. Great to have you on the show, and happy holidays, Blake.
Thank you. Appreciate having me on. Happy holidays to you guys as well.
Hey, for those who don't know, you grew up in Minnesota. You go to the University of Minnesota. We got a little taste for you of Minnesota for Christmas, but I'm wondering, did you leave most of your winter stuff with your family up north? Because I'm sure it's pretty useless down here.
I did. I think I have like one jacket down here and a couple beanies, but that's about it.
Robert was talking about the cold weather. I mean, we're obviously going to get a pretty good cold snap, at the end of this week. And I think I was looking at game time temps for this weekend, and it's supposed to be 5 degrees in Tennessee. Now, yeah, coming from Minnesota, you should probably be pretty used to this cold weather kind of thing. But
let's go.
Do you ever get used to that? That's what I was going to ask.
I would just say, you put up with it, but it's been a while since I've played in a game this cold, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity of walking out there sleeveless.
Nice. You have to do that, especially if you're a defensive player. You have to do it, or even a special teamer. Really anybody. No sleeves, like none of the extra stuff. Get lubed up with Vaseline or whatever, cover the pores up, do what you got to do.
That's exactly what I'm going to be doing, and it's all about a game like this when the weather is cold and it could be windy, maybe a little snowy. It's one of those games where it's all about effort and toughness. So I'm very excited, and it's a good opportunity for our team and our defense, show how strong and tough we are.
I assume you were a Vikings fan growing up, right?
I actually am considered a traitor back home. I grew up a diehard Green Bay Packers fan.
So I'm just curious. You're still in the NFC North as a fan right there. So Lovey was coaching the Bears at that time. The Bears fans, they don't actually get along with the probably other people in the NFC. Has this come up in conversation with Lovey at all that you were against him?
It has not. I don't think he knew or knows I grew up a Packers fan. I mean, now that I'm in the playing in the NFL, obviously a lot of that changes, just your perspective on the game and being a fan. But I remember growing up watching the Bears and, that team that Lovey was coaching. It was a good football team. And I believe I'm correct by saying this, that the Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears is one of the oldest, best rivalries in all of football.
Yeah, no question about that. Growing up, I remember watching plenty of those games on TV, and really anything Green Bay Packers. I myself was kind of a closet Packer fan for so many years. Brett Favre was my guy. He was everybody's guy. You couldn't not root for Brett Favre, a guy like that. But Blake, you just mentioned it, playing with toughness and the defense. You've gotten an opportunity to show what you can do a little bit more defensively of late. You recovered a fumble on special teams, and you recovered a fumble, I think, on defense at some point earlier this year. We recorded a sack, I know, recently here. You've been getting a little bit more opportunities there. Can you talk a little bit about those opportunities and a guy like Frank Ross, who has not just been rooting for you, but he's been rooting for Tremont Smith and some other guys that are regular contributors on a special teams unit that are getting a chance to shine defensively now?
Yeah, I think it's all about, being ready for the opportunity. I'm a guy that, takes pride in, knowing multiple roles, whether it be on defense or special teams, because it's a physical game. And especially as the season goes on, gets late in the year, guys get banged up, and you need players ready to go at multiple spots. And at the end of the day, it's always good to be flying around and around the ball when teams, coaches put on the film. So I take a lot of pride in just being very active on the field and getting around the ball, because whether it be you or somebody else that makes a play, you never know when the ball is gonna get coughed up on the turf, and you want to be able to take advantage of that moment.
You've had that opportunity this year like you never really had before, Blake, in terms of being on the field. Starting with New York, unfortunately, you dealt with a number of injuries. Um, I know you had the concussion earlier this year, and thankfully, it didn't keep you out for an extended period of time, really. But can you talk a little bit about that opportunity that you've had this year to be an every week contributor on special teams, had opportunities on defense, what that process has been like for you this year, being healthy, and how's it kind of set up for you that way with this medical staff, this training staff? What's different? What's working here in Houston and with your body, how it's responded?
That's a great question, and it's been a blessing to be healthy and playing all year. Because obviously, like you said, in the past with injuries and missing a lot of time, I felt like I was deprived of football, and it was very frustrating for me, and took a toll on me mentally. But something different, and credit to our performance staff and strength coach trainers. They've done a great job working with me, and something different I've done this year compared to the past is I've done a lot more soft tissue work before workouts, practice, games, and I feel like that's been the biggest difference maker. In the past, I always knew soft tissue work was important, but I always thought it was something you needed to do post practice and post games, and now I do it on both ends. And I think that part of that is just me figuring out my body more, being around a staff that takes a different look at things, or has a different perspective on how to treat your body. Because I'm a guy that when I am out there playing and working, like I put a lot of stress on my body. And with extra stress, you need extra soft tissue work. So, I got mad respect for our performance staff, because, like I said, it's been a blessing and a privilege to be healthy this year. And honestly, that was my goal coming into this season. Personally, was to be healthy for every game. So aside from the concussion, I'm very pleased with how it's gone. And like you said too, with my role, just trying to play wherever I'm needed, and do my job to the best of my ability.
You've done so much with special teams this year and been around Frank Ross. Tell me what he's like to be around a little bit, because you guys have had so much success on the special teams area of the team. And also, have you asked him about winning $14,000 on Deal or No Deal?
I have not asked him about that. I'm gonna have to get the details on that story. But he is so fun to play for. He's a guy that I would argue probably has the most energy in our building, and he makes meetings, practice, the games fun just because he brings so much juice and he's fired up. And I think when you have a coach like that, the players feed off that, and I think that's why, aside from him being a great coach, that energy, it's contributed to making us such a good special teams unit.
That video is up on YouTube of his Deal or No Deal. You can see the energy right there.
I'm going to have to look that up, because that is hilarious. I did not even know about that.
I didn't either. I learned something today. I had no idea. And Frank, we have him available to the media once a week. And so the next time that I get a chance to talk to him, I think it'll be Wednesday. Well, maybe it was today and I'm not there, but next week I'll have to ask him about that. You talk about the energy. The guy, I think, is an absolute football junkie. I think he's probably kind of a little psycho too. Like, the guy gets amped up. I love watching the special team sessions on Friday when we have a chance to see the first 30 minutes of practice and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit more about that energy, that excitement that he brings on a game day during the practice week? And then too, I was curious about this, Blake. I pay attention to these kind of things. Christian Kirksey commanded a pregame huddle before the Chiefs game, and you were kind of front and center, and he was kind of getting the guys amped up. It seemed like he'd kept you guys a little bit longer than normal before you headed back into the locker room before the game started. Who gives the best impassioned pregame speeches?
You said his name, Christian Kirksey. He's somebody that is a leader on our team and leads our defense. And he's honestly, for the most part, broken down our team, our huddle pregame, and you can just his demeanor and just the fire in his eyes and voice, gets us ready to go, gets our minds right, and he always seems to know exactly what to say, and we all feel his presence when he's speaking, and when you have a great leader, a great football player on your team, you take note to those things, and that's why we love, regardless of how our season's going, we love playing for him. We love playing for each other because we're a brotherhood and a family, and we're all in this together.
Of the Texans rookies, and there's a bunch of them, who is the biggest character?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Do you ever have to worry about Jalen Pitre like hitting you in the back? He's always flying around. I'm thinking as the linebacker, you're worried about where's Pitre? He might give me a little friendly fire.
He plays very tenacious. He's all over the field, having a great season. He's going to have a great career in this league, and we're happy to have him. And I'm excited to see how he progresses. In terms of character, I might say Austin Deculus on the O-line. Offensive linemen, they're always so personable and got big hearts and always making guys laugh. So I'd probably put him up there. Kurt Hinish, he's just a blue collar grinder, and just his perspective on things, and just how hard he works and looks at things. It's he's always got some funny comments to make.
Those last two guys that you mentioned, Deculus and Hinish, they seem like they'd be pretty cool guys to hang out with on a weekend. And kind of getting to that, what are you doing? During the season, when you're kind of get a chance to get away from football. What do you like to do? How do you like to spend your downtime? You got some favorite spots, hangouts that you like to enjoy in the city of Houston?
Yeah, I for the most part, I would say I'm either here, back at my apartment, but for this year, it's because I've been healthy and playing. I've had a lot more family and friends coming to town, so it's always fun to share those moments with them, have them at the games, and then going to grab a bite to eat or something afterwards. But for the most part, aside from work, I like to watch like to watch a lot of Netflix. I play a lot of Call of Duty. The new Call of Duty dropped, I think, end of October. So that's usually what I'm doing on my free time if I'm not here working.
What's your go-to on Netflix? Are you a big crime doc guy? I'm a crime documentary nut, true crime and mystery and a lot of history. What's your go-to?
Honestly, I watch a little bit of everything. I'd probably, with the list of shows I've watched, probably would surprise some people. But right now, I've just been watching a lot of holiday movies. It's that time of the year. On HBO, I started watching what is it, The House of Dragons from Game of Thrones. Amazon Prime, I watched that new Lord of the Rings series. So that's what I've been watching recently. All very good.
Are you a Hallmark movie guy? Does the TV kind of make its way to Lifetime or Hallmark, or what?
I don't know if I call myself a Hallmark movie guy, but I get in the holiday spirit, and my girlfriend, she loves to watch stuff like that too. So as a man, you got to do what the girl says. Keep them happy.
Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, for sure, Elf. No question about it.
I was hoping he would add some fuel to the fire and say Die Hard or something, since that's always...
I think a lot of people would say Elf. I also like there's one with what's it? It's called The Office Party, I believe.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one yet.
It's a comedy. It's pretty funny. Probably seen that 5 times. Yet to still watch it this holiday season, but
so you saw that one
on the agenda.
I've probably watched Elf 5 times in the last 3 days alone. And I have a 2-year-old boy. They are nuts about that movie. And it's Will Ferrell, so I mean, it definitely works, and I never really get tired of it. But I'm at the point now where I've seen it so much, I'm looking for like mistakes made in the movie.
Yep.
It
It's an all-time movie.
is.
Nothing wrong with watching it multiple times over and over. Nothing wrong with it.
When you were a kid, was there a Christmas gift kind of related to football that you were all pumped up about? I mean, you sound like a video gamer, so was there a video game football related or anything like that you got all excited about as a kid?
Well, I remember growing up, I always would ask for the new Madden. That was always on my Christmas list. Usually there would be a new Green Bay Packers jersey on the list. Growing up, I had a lot of different jerseys, a lot of different players and teams. So those were always on my Christmas list.
Do you got your family coming down for Christmas?
I do not. I have my girlfriend coming to town, but I do have my family coming to this Tennessee game in hopes that they make it out of Minneapolis. There's, I guess, a big winter storm coming in the Midwest, and I think they canceled flights already today, and they're already telling people that flights for Thursday night and Friday are likely to be canceled. So I'm hoping they make it out just because it'd be great to have them and see them on Christmas Eve. But it's still up in the air depending on the weather.
Yeah, weather's going to be an absolute mess, man. And I do have to say, I enjoy the cold weather games. If there's going to be snow, I'm all in. I don't care who's playing. I want to see it. And I was really impressed that they cleaned the field up in Buffalo this past week as well as they did after it looked the way that it did, like just feet and feet and feet of snow in that stadium. But all the best of luck to you and the team this week in Tennessee. You guys have been playing with a lot of extra juice here in the last couple of weeks, and certainly hope you guys are able to get a dub on Saturday, Christmas Eve in Tennessee. I really appreciate you joining us, Blake. Thank you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.
Hey, you can support the show by subscribing on YouTube and commenting on the videos. Listen to Houston Sports Talk on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, and Google. Don't forget to tell a friend and share our show on social media. Spread the word, everybody. Thanks for listening.